Okay, 3 would have had very chronic mental health issues. Okay, 10 would have had parents that are separated. 1 would have had a parent that's died, either a mom or dad has died. 7 would have been bullied. Okay, and 6 would have had some form of self-harm. So you see, from that statistic, you start checking out, you start seeing some pointers, okay, to some very serious mental health issues. So a lot of it has to do with behavioral patterns. So it could be something that has to do with self-harm. If a child is experiencing any form of self-harm and they don't love themselves, or for whatever reason, they want to cut themselves. Some people use knives, some people use razor blades, people use different things, okay? That's one thing to look out for. A lot of children have probably gone through 1 or 2 cases of bullying, okay? In school, it's so rampant. I mean, when I teach in school during break, I mean, they go out, they play around, and then you see some of them just, not being able to socialize because they've been bullied, they don't have friends. So once you start seeing a child kind of, separating themselves, wanting to lock themselves in a room, not having that confidence to talk, okay? So for instance, in my class, I always want children to talk. So I do a lot of calling. So I'll say, oh, you haven't spoken in the last 2 hours. Do you want to say something in the last 20 minutes? Do you want to say something? And then you see some children who just kind of pull back, okay? They don't have the confidence to talk, okay? They can't say anything. Sometimes they even know what they are supposed to say, but they just don't have the confidence, okay, just to come out and talk in public. So once you start seeing those signs, okay, those are signs of very, very serious mental health issues. Some people have post-traumatic kind of syndrome, maybe after the loss of a parent. So they start having very, very serious issues. But generally, it's all around behavioral patterns, okay? And I think it's very important that parents really observe children, okay? So even if children are not with parents, maybe are with uncles and aunties or relations, by just observing those children, you start to see some of those patterns. So maybe a child wants to just stay on their PS5, okay? PS5 is out now, or their PS4 all day. I knew a guy those days that he never went to bed. He was always on his PS3 all through the night. And that was his social life. He didn't have so many friends, but that was his life, okay? So once you start seeing some of those signs, then you start knowing that, okay, there's a serious mental health issue that we need to deal with.
Thank you so much for that insight. Our listeners, viewers, if you're hearing this, if you're listening, I hope you are getting some things down. Behavioral patterns, if you see them separating themselves, isolation, withdrawal, you need to check it out. We go for a quick music break, and when we come back, we continue. It's still praise time. We're worshiping God in spirit and in truth. And today I've got a friend with me, Dr. Sanfo. I call him David, Dr. David Sanfo Agyo, and we are looking at a child's mental health. We've checked out what is mental health, what is a child's mental health. We've also seen the signs and symptoms that we need to check out for in a child's mental health. Now, Doc, we want to go into the scriptures now. How can we improve our children's mental health with biblical principles? That are practical. So how can we imbibe this into them and to improve their mental health generally?
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. I mean, just to add to what I said before, there are so many other symptoms, probably things that maybe I've not even mentioned. Sometimes it could have to do with maybe eating disorders, maybe very, very odd sleeping patterns, so many things. Sometimes children don't even have good relationships, okay? They always want to be attached to someone. They have self-esteem issues, all those things could accumulate into different signs that we should watch out for. But going to the Bible, really, there's so many things that we see in the Bible, okay? We see that Cain had a mental health issue. Okay, the Bible said that himself and his brother came to God and they offered their offerings. God accepted Abel and did not accept Cain. Why would Cain go and kill Abel? Okay, I mean, Abel is not his problem. Okay, but you could see that he had a serious mental health problem there. Okay, and that's why he went to kill his brother Abel. We see Elijah was depressed, for instance. Okay, he was really depressed after a lot of things that happened to him. And then we also see Jacob. Jacob wanted to be Esau. Okay, he wanted the birthright. There was no reason why he should get the birthright. I mean, all he just needed to do was just be Jacob. Okay, there was no need for him to go for the birthright. Okay, but going into the Bible and to see how God helped these people handle their different problems. I'll focus so much on Elijah because Elijah was a very special case. He was depressed, he wanted to die, and you start seeing that people that also have mental health problems, when it gets very chronic, they want to get towards that point of death, or they want to commit suicide, or they lose hope in life. All God did for Elijah was he gave him a partner. Okay, he surrounded him with the right set of people. So he told him, go and anoint 3 people. Okay, before that time, Elijah was all about a one-man show. Okay, but immediately he had Elisha, I think theologians believe that he went on for another about maybe 20 or more years, okay, in his ministry. Wow. So the big problem was that he didn't have probably friends or confidants that he could talk to and interact with. And I think that's one of the big things that we need to consider about mental health. Especially with children, they need someone that will be able to listen to them, someone that will be able to understand them, someone that will be able to keep their secrets, someone that will not expose them. And I think that all talks about parents, really. Those are the responsibilities of parents. And so what I would say is, with respect to mental health, you need to get close to your children, not just because they have mental health issues. Okay, it shouldn't be once you observe those patterns, then you now need to get close. No, you should have family times where you play around that Xbox or that PS5 that the child has, play it with them, get to know them very well. Let there be times when you can share things together. Let them be able to tell you things freely. If they are looking at a girl, they want to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, whether it's a boy or a girl, let them be able to tell the parents. And you see, once that relationship is really there, then a lot of things will be made much better. I mean, it's now that we have a lot of course, mental health issues have always been there, okay? But I think it's becoming more prominent now because the family structure is a little bit broken, okay? So it's either you're with a single mom or single dad, and so there's no family cohesion. There's no good family times, okay? What has happened to people sitting down or family sitting down and playing puzzle and playing Scrabble, and watching a movie and having a laugh, all those things make an impact in the life of a child, okay? We look at also Jacob, okay? All he needed a family, and immediately he got a family, okay? That really made a massive impact. But very importantly was that he found God, okay? So when Jacob found God, okay, God was the one that helped him find his self-esteem, okay? He was able to overcome that. Now, some other suggestions I will just give is also about the fact that children need to feel success. Okay, they need to feel a sense of success. They need to feel that they are achieving a lot of things. That's why children play PlayStation, because when you play games, okay, you always win. Even if you lose once or twice, you will find a way to win somehow, okay? And so when you experience success, it really boosts your mental health, okay? So parents have a responsibility to always speak positive words to children, encourage them when they do things that are good, okay? Tell them they are brilliant, even though they are not very, very brilliant. In school, they always tell us that even if a child does something very small, if it's the first time he's doing something, and all this while he's been failing or she's been failing, and even if the child gets maybe like a 40, you praise the child as though the child has got like a 90, because when they feel a sense of success, it really boosts their mental health. But I'll just stop here for now, because I know there are loads of other things I could say. But I'll just wait for more opportunity for us to bring us.
Wow. I'm being blessed myself. If you're hearing this, I'll just echo some things that I'm jotting down. I told you he's a born teacher. Relationship, you listen to them, you try to understand them, keep their secrets, encourage them to fear God. Yeah, let them know success, let them feel success. More so, say positive words of encouragement to your children or to children around you. You can be a guardian, you can just be an uncle or something. Yeah, you can be a caregiver. make sure that you are doing all these things. This is why we are having people like this to encourage us to share more light on things like this on our show. Thank you so much, brother. And before you leave that area, I'm just going to give you a live scenario. You've mentioned some of the things. I just want, assuming you are the caregiver for this girl, a young girl, a teenage girl to be precise. She's always on her phone, in her room, most of the time locked up by herself. And sometimes when she comes out, she feels sad. You can see it all over her. Few times when she comes out, she's really, really happy and on top of the world. And the parents, they don't even know what to do with her, and they've been talking to her. What are you doing on the phone? Maybe it's their approach or something. If you are the caregiver for this young girl, what would you have done better?
Okay, that's an interesting one. That sounds like a lot of my students actually. I think the first thing is to try and understand the child. Okay. First try and understand the child. That might take a while, okay, but it's very important that we understand children. So no two people that are experiencing that will probably have the same kind of experiences. So one is to find out, what is she always doing on the phone? Okay, what is it that gives her so much satisfaction that she wants to, seclude herself and do? Okay, is it just chatting with friends? Is it because she doesn't like people at home? Is it because she doesn't feel loved, such that when she comes out, there's that gloominess about her? Okay, so I think that's the first thing, to try and understand her. Okay, I think that's the first thing that's very, very important. Some other practical things I've seen some people do, okay, some parents do is somehow, okay, I'm not saying every parent will be comfortable doing this. Some people create kind of dummy accounts online, okay, and then they become their children's friends, okay, on social media. Somehow it's not to pry and then to attack the children. It's just to understand, what are they really looking out for? What are they really checking? Okay. How can I support them? And that way it's like you're being a good spy. Okay. You're being a good spy just to understand them more, to see, because there are so many things, especially if you have teenagers, there are so many things they will probably do at certain stages that they want to keep quiet, okay, or they want to keep secret. Okay. So one, being their friend, genuinely being their friend is important. Okay. For some people, go the extra mile. Okay. Just to try and get to know their children much better. Then you now think about how to approach it. And also, it's very important that we pray for them. Okay, yeah. Prayer, we can't take out the place of really spending time to pray. Some children are going through serious depression issues. Some are going through so much of anxiety. It was recently I understood the whole idea of exam anxiety, especially for a lot of children. Okay, maybe during GCSE, you see people with children having panic attacks. Okay, so anxiety could be there, low self-esteem could be there. So it's about really trying to understand and engage the child. Once you engage the child, then you know where the problem is. So in that scenario, I can't give specific things because that child might have, certain things that we can look at, but it could be any of these things that I've mentioned. But I think very, very importantly is for us to be able to engage the child. Okay. If you also need professional help, there's a lot of professional help available. I know the NHS provides some form of professional help. I know there's something called Children and Young People's Mental Health Service. Okay, CYPMHS. So you can also have a look at that. Their helplines are also online. There's child and adolescent mental health services. So you can also check that out. All these professional services are there to kind of help. And then you also read. Okay, I think reading is very important because you find out that if you read, you might see scenarios or stories of people that have gone through very similar cases. Okay, in fact, people that have gone through very similar cases and then are now helping others. Okay, so it's not just professionals that just went to study. Okay, there are people who have gone through those kind of issues and they are ready to help. Yeah, so I'm for instance someone who has gone through game addiction. So if someone is telling me about game addiction, to an extent I understand where they'll be coming from because it's something I've experienced when I was young. Okay, so I think those kind of people will really help but there's loads of professional service. Also try and see if you can get them really engaged in church. I think it's really very important that they get engaged. So some children, there's even something I know some schools do where children that are not performing very well in school get to go for extracurricular activities, like fun activities. So it has nothing to do with their qualification in school. It has nothing to do with attainment. It's those children that are not doing very well. Those children that will probably make noise or disrupt the class, the problematic students, okay, in a sense, in quotes. And they go for adventure things. And I think it's very good.
Before you leave that, there's this question I put down. I'll just ask you now, how do we get our children involved in serving the Lord? Because you mentioned that sometimes getting them, when you tell some of the kids, like, I need you to start learning this or doing that, they will just say, okay, Dad. They are not interested, or they just don't want to do it. You can't possibly force them. What do we do in those cases?
Well, it's a very complicated one because it's something that I've been racking my head trying to find a solution to, especially for so many children around. But I think it starts with, I believe it starts with the parents. Okay, you will see a very, very obvious pattern. You find out that a lot of people that go into sports either have parents that were sports stars, or they had relations that were sports stars. Okay, and it's very obvious. So recently, I was watching a video of Cristiano Ronaldo's son playing for Juventus. I won't be surprised if he becomes a superstar tomorrow. Why? Because he sees it in his dad. Okay, so I would say the first thing is, don't tell them to do something you are not doing yourself. Yes. Okay, so I think that's the starting point. So when your children grow up seeing you doing a lot of things, okay, seeing you engaging, seeing you doing it excitedly, seeing you doing it such that you're getting results, your own mental health is not affected, okay, rather is boosted, okay, then I think there's a liking that will come into it. They will see that, oh, daddy is enjoying this. I want to do it with daddy. And I think that might help with some children. Now, I'm not saying it's going to help for every child, but I think that's a starting point, because I've seen parents who say, oh, I want my children to do things, but you are not doing anything, okay? You probably don't even come to church like that, but then you want to push the children to go and do things for God when you are not doing it, okay? So I think it's easier if, for instance, you're in the choir, you're singing, and you say, okay, you tell your child, do you want to come with me? Let's go to the choir. And then they can now go with you. And then it's about we doing things together. Wow. Okay, that's one. Secondly is the fact that I think we need to find some form of a reward system for children. There must be some form of a motivation. Okay, so it's even possible that some people have told the children to do it. They've done it once, twice, 3 times. Maybe they get discouraged, or maybe they just feel, oh, I'm not good enough. Okay, the parents need to be able to find ways to encourage them, and that brings me back to those positive reinforcements that I spoke about previously. Okay, or it could even be gifts. It could be something. Okay, you could give to your children to just kind of encourage them and boost their confidence and say, wow, you handled the camera today. That's brilliant. Oh, you're trying to learn drums. Oh, wow. If you're able to learn these drums in 1 year, you might get, I don't know, something. Okay, that really pushes children a lot. Okay, those encouraging factors, I think, come in. Okay, also, I think it's also good for us to know what they love doing, and then to channel their energies towards those particular areas. Okay, so don't tell your child to go and do something they don't like. Okay, it shouldn't be about you. It should be about them. Okay, and then once you find that out, really, really guide them. Okay, something else I've seen is a lot of times people are not ready to spend money. I think sometimes you some of those things you need to spend money. You need to probably get a professional. You need to get someone that will really help your child to do those things, especially if it's in church or you want them to play musical instruments or different things. You need to spend quality money. Okay, else why are we saving all this money? Why are we working? It's for them. Okay, so I think we need to be ready to spend and encourage them. So it's all about you getting into it. Okay, so you're trying to get your child to probably learn something. The child does it for 4 or 5 weeks, and there's no comment from you. There's no encouragement. There's no well done. There's no any positive reinforcement. After a while, if the child feels discouraged, they might give up. Okay, so I think that's another thing. So it's good. And then lastly, I think it's also good that sometimes, depending on what you're asking the child to do, you do it together with the child.
Yeah.
So I've seen cases of maybe like people coming on Zoom, for instance, and they sit with their children by the side. Okay, I think it makes a massive difference. Okay, it makes a massive difference. So you find that, for instance, some children have stage fright. Some people have, I don't want to call it camera fright, but it's all about the fact that they hate being seen, or they have a phobia for being seen. Okay, so they are not camera friendly. So you tell some children, for instance, to stay on camera, and they're a little bit uneasy.
Shy.
Okay, a little bit shy and things like that. So, what if you sit beside them and they say, okay, I'm here with you. Okay, all those things really help. Or maybe a child is going for football, you go there and you're inside. In fact, there are cases where I've seen, and I'll try and run with this. Sorry, I'm talking a lot. There are cases where I've seen two parents take their children for football. One parent stayed inside the car and was doing their work. Another parent went inside. It was like a 5-a-side, all those indoor pitches, and then stayed by the side and was hailing the child. Okay, you see, those are two different things. Those are two different scenarios where you have one that is actually the cheerleader, and another one that is kind of oblivious. So by the time the child comes back, you're like, how was football? The parent that was in the car, how was football? Oh, it was fine. It's fine. Did you score a goal? Yes. But the parent was not really there. Okay, so it's about we getting that balance, really being involved as much as possible.
Thank you so much. So impactful and insightful. Oh man, time is running so fast. We'll be right back. We'll go for another music break, and when we come back, we'll try to round off. Thank you so much. It's still praise time on AP Radio UK and MZ Radio London with your friend and brother O.Phils. I'll be right back.
My name is Dimbian. I am a gospel artist, and I am listening to Praise Time with O.Phils.
It's been an awesome time with Dr. Sanfo. We've been learning a lot of things, and we're still going to learn in this short time by God's grace. Hello, Doc. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Hope you're doing great.
I will always say thank you for coming on the show. I'm being blessed, really, really, really blessed. Can we solely rely on God's word for our children's mental health, safety, and generally, can we just believe in the word of God and just hold on and run with it, or should we get professional help when needed? How do we balance this? Or should we just go one way and, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength? I don't know, maybe you get what I'm saying, because yes. I'm a Christian, and sometimes I just depend on God solely on everything. Whereas sometimes you need to get some professional help. So how do we balance it?
Yeah. I think it goes on to that's a very interesting question, because we need to also understand. I think so many people have this mentality that it's sometimes it's all about just me and God. Okay, we're never supposed to be that way as Christians. Okay, when the Bible says I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, it just means that God gives us the ability to do things. Okay, however, we still need the support of other people. Okay, it means that people have the solutions we need, okay, and God can lead us, okay, to those right people. So it's very important that we get that balance. So it's not just about what you know. So what you know in terms of the word of God is very important, okay, but you don't know everything also, and that's where seeking professional help, reading books, speaking with friends and family members really, really makes a massive difference. Okay, so for instance, I know my daughter had an issue at a point. She wasn't sleeping by herself. Okay, in fact, we have another episode now that we're trying to also work on. But at a point, she couldn't sleep by herself. Okay, and someone told us, okay, you need to start doing this gradually. put her in the room for a while. She might be scared, but maybe you put her there for 30 minutes, or she'll come out 1 hour, she'll come out, and then that way she'll get to a certain point where, she's going to get used to it. So I think we need to be able to complement what we know, what we've read, okay, with professional help, with extra knowledge, okay, because that's very, very key. So we can't just say, oh, it's all about Jesus. Yes, we know it's all about Jesus, okay, but Jesus alone didn't do everything he needed to do just by himself. Okay, he needed his 12 disciples. He needed, the different women that were helping him. Some people were supporting him in his ministry. In fact, he didn't just have 12 disciples. I always tell people, don't always think that Jesus only had 12 disciples. He had 12 that were very close, that were apostles. But he had so many other disciples. So Jesus was not a one-man show. And like we said, if you're a one-man show, you will make so much progress. You'll be like Elijah, who gassed out after a while. So yes, we need a lot of knowledge. We need a lot of help from different people to help us to be able to make the right decisions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for shedding light on that. Before you go, what is your message for our children and parents regarding mental health today? What can they take with them? Like, boom, this is my main call for you. Take it with you as you go.
I think one of the key things I would say is I've been doing a lot of study on children, and I found out that between the time a child is born to the time when they become adults, so I'm looking at maybe say 21, okay, where they become, to an extent, okay, maybe they finish uni and they have matured, they go through about 6 different stages. Okay. Now, by the time they're born up until maybe, when they are 4, when they will start school proper, that's like one stage. The whole primary school, stage section also is another stage. Secondary school also, okay, when they're becoming more aware, they're becoming teenagers, puberty begins to kick in. That's another stage. Even by the time they get to 18, that's also another stage. So just to say that children go through different stages. Yeah. And each of those stages comes with different challenges, okay? So when we start looking at mental health of children, we need to understand that what might apply in one stage might not apply in another stage. So it's going to be a steep learning curve for some people. Some people might find it easy. Some people might say, "Oh, my child is fine now," because they're below 10. By the time they get to 13, they become something else. And some people might have it, in different ways. So I just want to say that it's going to be about consistently learning. Okay, consistently observing, consistently praying, consistently applying principles that are needed for us to make sure that these children have very, very good mental health. And then very important, the parent also, they also have to be stable in terms of their mental health. You cannot give what you don't have. So if you look after yourself, okay, and you make sure you're also very good, you're also very sound, then it will help you also to impact your children. So I would say start with yourself, okay, study, okay, and then you can now make an impact in the life of those children. And then finally, just like I said before, some key things to check out for any form of depression, okay, self-harm, it could be any form of anxiety, any kind of post-traumatic stress disorder, any kind of eating disorder, any kind of disorder actually, and any kind of overactive or overreactive kind of attitude. Those are things that we should watch out for.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Real good. I believe if I call you another time, you will respond and you will come back by God's grace. And not just you alone, I'll be expecting Lady May as well.
Yes.
It's open for you guys anytime. I want to say a very big thank you to everyone that has tuned in today, especially my first timers, first listeners. Thank you for tuning in to Praise Time, where we've been praising God, where we've been thanking Him, where we've been worshiping Him. At the same time, we've been learning new things, where we've been encouraged. Thank you so much. God bless you. To my producer, Mr. Soji Amoni, and thank you so much, MZ Radio London crew. God bless you. To my wife, thank you so much. Please don't forget to log on to our link, bit.ly/AP Radio UK, bit.ly/AP AP Radio UK. From there, you can see what we're doing. You can see how you can support. You can see how you can be part of what God is doing through us. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will be signing out today with Wide as the Sky after Praise Time ad from Sanfo. Thank you. Bye for now.
This is Dr. Sanfo David Agyo. You're listening to Praise Time on AP Radio.